Wait. Okay, sorry. I still haven't fixed my game capture yet, but I'm not gonna worry about it all that much, unless I like accidentally show my like IP. Actually, maybe closing Discord is a good idea. Uh, I don't think there's anything else really. I mean, I use Chrome just for Pier, so sorry. Waterfox is for my personal browsing. I'm very paranoid, so I try to like keep that shit down tight. Sorry for being a little late. I was just like super freaking tired after work and I just needed to like lay down for a couple minutes. And by a couple minutes, I meant like an hour and 40 minutes. But it was still well needed. I've been working my ass off. And retail is definitely the job of all time. I am the king of retail. And oh wait, this is the part where I'm gonna try to keep doing this, especially for VOD watchers, because I feel like most of my audience is VOD watchers, apparently. Um, just a shout out, you guys should like totally like and subscribe to me. Like that would be really cool and appreciated. And I noticed that if I talk about it, I generally actually do get followers and likes sometimes. So yeah, if you haven't and you enjoy my content, or at least my Umineko content, you should like it. I don't care whatever happens after I'm done streaming Umineko. Whoever wants to keep watching can, whoever wants to leave can leave. It's fine by me, really. I'm kind of part of the whole variety gang, but I like to play games through. I don't like to like just drop a game for no reason if I'm streaming it. Unless it was Kingdom Come Deliverance, but I went on vacation and I took a break from streaming and I don't know, it didn't happen. Plus I got really bored with it. I forgot how janky it was. But regardless, I will be finishing Umineko. So if you enjoy my Umineko content or my stupid schizo little moments, I highly encourage you to like it. Liking it and just watching is like the best thing you could do. That really helps out my small little channel and my hobbyist ass approach to this. My kind of janky, awful audio where I hit the mic too much, and yeah, generally it would be very appreciated while I fish for my medicine out of my pills. And by only have one prescription, but I have to take all these. I have to take vitamin D and magnesium because this shit absolutely pops, and it's a Disco Elysium reference. At least the magnesium is. Harry was onto something about magnesium. Where we last left off on Umineko, I don't really remember. It was just a lot of like meta shit with Battler and Beatrice, who's the same Beatrice as the one from 19 years ago, kind of. That same, like, super naive, like, just not the real Beatrice. And I guess Battler's gonna be murdering the whole family now, is my prediction. We also met, now that I talk about it is when I start to remember it all. We also met Featherine Augustus Aurora, who is the Witch of Theater Going and shit. And we got to see Angie again, who's kind of taken a new role in the game as her Miko. And apparently a Miko, I had to look it up because I'm not too familiar with Japanese culture. A Miko is like a shrine maiden, so I had to figure that one out. Because I am not particularly wise with Japanese culture. I'm not really an anime guy. I watch like one anime a year. This year it was JoJo's. I watched parts 1 through 4. But and I never finished 5. I was in the middle of watching it. My life was really busy. But yeah, so I don't really have a lot of that anime background that's gonna give me the insight to a lot of the Japanese shit. So I really appreciate it when people can help me out with that. Also, wait, if we're gonna talk about like supporting what you can do to support Pier, leaving comments is also really cool. I try to get back to them as soon as possible. I don't check my YouTube channel every day because I only use it for uploading my stream VODs. I have like a regular YouTube channel I use for everything else. Leaving comments is also super nice and helpful, and I really appreciate it. And obviously, shout out to people who hang out in Twitch chat with me. We've had a lot of fun over these last 4 months of Umineko almost. We're almost getting on 4 months of this shit. So without further ado, I say let's just fucking start where we left off. Let's explore the legend of Rokkenjima. Let's try to figure out whether my prediction for Beatrice is correct. And this time, I'm being a little naughty. I've gotten some alcohol. I'm gonna have a couple beers. Just a couple though. Swear to God, cross my heart, hope to die. The wind had been strengthening since a while back. The breaking waves had... Oh, wait! The other thing that happened is that we got some Shannon canon lore. And it really has thrown me for a loop trying to analyze, like, who are Shannon and canon? Like, what is their significance to the plot? Like, are they even, like, real human physical characters? Like, what's their connection to the original... I always call it the original sin. The original sin 6 years ago, especially Shannon, who seems to have a so-called great memory. And there was this whole idea that Shannon and George's, Canon and Jessica's love was almost a competition of sorts, that one would be proven valid while the other would be proven invalid. And I'm not really sure how to rationalize that or throw it into my theories. But as I've said before, I feel like I've taken little bites out of the truth, but I haven't eaten the whole truth burger remains uneaten. The breaking waves had grown fierce. The ferry boats probably won't be coming for a while now. Ooh, I love thunderstorms. The crashing thunder told that the island had been sealed off from the outside world. A thick rain poured down, mocking the fools outdoors who had to rush pathetically to find shelter. No longer would anyone be able to leave this island, and no longer would anyone be able to reach this island unless you're Furudo Erika. No one, unless blessed with a miracle. There was another flash of lightning. The retinas of all who saw it were filled with white. This is also going to be like a shorter stream, obviously, because I started later. As that white faded away, okay. An eerie shadow pulled itself up amidst the raging waters of the beach. As though suddenly remembering to do so, it coughed violently, several times, filthily spitting out the seawater that had filled its stomach. She then tore apart the touch fastener of her life jacket and threw down the reason she had been able to float here without so much as a thank you. Hi, Furudo Erika. Welcome in by a storm. Same as always. Very good. Yes, come and entertain me, Battler-san. Get the fuck out of this game. You don't belong here, Furudo Erika. That's all I had to do to finish? Really? It was 4 fucking minutes of reading. It was like 2 minutes. What the fuck? Why does this keep happening? I'm like that fucking, like the meme where the guy is mining the fucking diamonds. I'm the guy who's like quitting before he hits it rich every fucking time. Just read a little more, Pier. Fuck. News of the drifter, Furudo Erika, quickly spread across Rokkenjima. Also, why do I keep pronouncing it different? I always call it either Rokkenjima or Rokkenjima. Fuck me. Okay. Erika had been welcomed in politely, and it was decided that she would be treated as a guest until the typhoon passed. Ugh, welcome back, Furudo Erika. I don't like you. You give me the ick. And Kinzo's already dead. In the dining hall, Goda's wonderful dinner had ended and everyone was relaxing and enjoying some after-dinner coffee and cheese. I've already said this, but after-dinner coffee is crazy to me. Apparently, Battler was a bit relieved that Erica had come and turned into a good scapegoat. It drove away some of the attention he'd been getting piled on him for finally coming back after 6 years. In fact, she turned out to be very talkative. When the conversation turned to a sophisticated discussion of the mystery genre, even the adults were drawn in. She was apparently so well versed that even Nanjo, who had a vast knowledge of the subject, was impressed. Good point. A strange family in a western mansion on an isolated island during a storm. Now that we have a detective stopping by to take shelter from the rain, we've all got the major factors lined up. I have no fear. No matter how difficult the crime, I will solve it. You're not, because unlike fucking Lambda, you're not getting spoon-fed the truth by Battler. Or even some bullshit. You're gonna have to try a lot harder, Furudo Erica. That's a detective's job. How reassuring. It almost sounds as though you want a bizarre crime to occur. I hope I don't have to play the part of the victim. Dear, you mustn't say such things. Well, the history of the human mystery genre is only about a century old. Its tricks and ideas are limited to a few recycled patterns, so there's nothing left to show. No matter what kind of impossible crimes or closed-room murders might occur, it'll be nothing more than one of the same classes of tricks dressed up to look like something new. The only reason mysteries still make for popular books today is because of self-proclaimed fans. Those who work off pieced together knowledge and who have hardly read any of the classics. Mistakenly think that a classic trick they didn't know about, through lack of proper study, is actually something new and surprising. Everyone couldn't help but gape at this imposing claim. If an aged critic had said it, that would have been one thing. But to think a young person like this could say it so boldly. Mystery's a genre that ended a half-century ago. At least as far as I'm concerned. She hates mystery! However, thanks to countless ignorant fools, I get to play my part as a detective. By that argument, wouldn't it mean that romance was perfected back in Shakespeare's time, so everything after that isn't worth reading? Exactly. So if you just read Romeo and Juliet, it's the same as having understood all of romance. I hate her. She's such a douche. That's ridiculous. It's not like there's any need to read some more books than everyone else just for its own sake. But on the other hand, you can't be so satisfied with just a few stories like that. Sticking to classics of the past and never reading anything new is a sign of excessive nostalgia, don't you think? And what is nostalgia without pain? That sounds to me like an excuse of an old person who can't be bothered to read more. I see. I guess I'll need to read at least as much as you, or else I'd probably lose an argument. Me? Ha, I don't read books. Battler chuckled, but Erica knew from the previous game that Battler was actually quite an avid reader. So his words felt more like a challenge. If you're so confident in your reasoning abilities, you must be really good at quizzes and puzzles, right? Oh, right, Maria, didn't you bring a quiz book or something? Ugh, brought it! Realizing that Erica's arrogant statement had made the atmosphere a little more tense, George smoothly changed the subject. By now, it was more than clear that she wasn't the cute guest she had appeared to be. Maria pulled a book out of her bag that had quizzes and puzzles written on it and started reading them to everyone. I want to play a quiz. It looked like it might turn into a peaceful quiz party, but of course that isn't what happened. As a credit to all her big talk, Erica managed an impressive ratio of correct and immediate answers. She took complete control. And her bragging began to escalate more and more. George slightly regretted the choice he'd made when changing the subject. "106 matches. No need to even write a tournament chart for it. The question, how many matches would you need for a tournament with 107 teams, was answered instantly by Erica. This is less of a puzzle than it is a test of knowledge. There's a formula which shows that the number of matches is always the number of teams minus 1. Well, if you just look at the examples showing 3 matches for 4 teams and 7 matches for 8, it should be easy to figure out the pattern. Erica, that's awesome! Erica One-chan, right? Say it. Erica One-chan, that's awesome. Really impressive. So, you don't call yourself a detective for nothing. I couldn't very well act the part of the detective if I was incapable of handling puzzles of this sort. Wait, I want to find that meme. Who can solve the Kira case? Yeah, this one. Is there any Umineko characters on this? No? Fucking Nardwar, but not... Okay, I swear there was a version of this that had Umineko characters. Whatever. Maybe there's like a different version. Okay. Battler's in the middle. Apparently people think Harry Dubois could always solve it. Okay, that's been a distraction. Incredible. I'm sure you'll be able to become a real detective in the future. Well, I'm pretty sure I already am one. The cousins all thought about the answers to the questions, but Erica always answered first. Rosa thought it was a bit rude for Erica to say answers out loud while people were still thinking, instead of keeping them to herself. Yeah, she's being a dick. It's just not even cool. It just makes you look like a douche, especially when half these people are like Maria, like children, or like Jessica, like a midwit. But since Erica was a guest, she decided against mentioning it. In truth, Erica was perfectly aware of this when she answered the questions instantly. Each time, she would grin broadly, as though saying, "You all still haven't solved such an easy problem." A great detective like you shouldn't really need to take these too seriously, right? Alright, good own, Kyrie. Good point. Even though these are just childish questions, I was getting a bit too serious. I'll take more care, so let's have the next question, please. Alright, I won't lose this time. Maria, next question. You have one large piece of cheese. A single slice with a knife can split it into 2 parts. So, what is the lowest number of slices you can make to cut it into 8 parts? 4? I don't know. Wait. Now this is some streamer shit. Wait a minute. This is some streamer shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, that's gotta be 4 cuts. It's my final answer. I'm not very smart, though. I mean, unless... Nah, it's gotta be 4. Ugh. What is that fucking face? Ew, George. Oh, I know this one. I guess I'll stay quiet this time. George, acting like the adult he was, set up a mood that would prevent people from answering right away if they knew the answer, in effect sending a warning to Erica. It seemed that Erica understood, and she averted her gaze, snorting derisively. To make 8 pieces, 4 slices would be enough, right? I'm the same level of midwit as you, Natsui. I'm not very smart at this type of shit. That's dumb. It would hardly be a puzzle if that was the answer. What if you just make 1 cut, but you, like, keep it, like, I don't know, but you, like, don't raise the knife, so it technically is just 1 cut. I don't know how to explain that. But what is a cut? This is my fucking issue, is whenever I start playing with these word games, I get a little too freaking, like, I guess I get a little too Socratic with it. I don't know. That's right. These are usually set up so that a smaller number than you'd expect is the answer. But still, how exactly could it be done? Oh, got it. You can only do this because it's cheese. True. If you try to do it with a birthday cake, there'd be a huge fight. Wahahaha, that's right. You might be able to do this with cheese, but you'd never cut a cake like this. Huh? All of you know the answer? Damn it, am I the only one who doesn't? Oh, I've got it. Yeah, you've got to think 3-dimensionally. That doesn't help me. Wait, even Jessica? I don't get it. What should I do? I know the answer. It's written right here. You didn't know the answer until you looked, right? Get it, Battler-kun? I see. I understand it as well. This is something you can do because it is cheese. Yeah? Even Dr. Nanjo gets it? Could it be? Am I the only one who doesn't get it? I'm sure even your brain could be as flexible as cheese if we cooked it a little, Battler-san. It isn't something like use 0 slices with the knife and break it apart with your hands, right? Of course not. It's impossible to cut this cheese with anything other than a knife. Says who? Think of the cheese in 3 dimensions. If that's hard, it might help to draw a picture on paper on a... I already did! And I fucking got 4 slices! So we have 1 large piece of cheese, right? And we use a knife to make 8 pieces. Can the knife only cut in a straight line? Yes, that's right. Well, why? The knife only cuts in straight lines. Oh, but here's a hint. You can only cut in a straight line, but you're free to cut it wherever you want. Try thinking of a bunch of ways to stick it in. You should probably try to think out of the box a bit. Show us what you've got, Battler-kun. I'm not getting this. I am so bad at these like puzzles like this. You have a large piece of cheese. How many times must you cut it with a knife to make 8 pieces? Wait, do they have to be equal or not? Because if it's not equal, then fuck it. You could obviously do it in 4 cuts. Could it be done in even fewer cuts than that? I'm not gonna think too hard. Our hints so far point to it being possible specifically because it's cheese. If it was a birthday cake, you really wouldn't be allowed to do this. Says who? Well, give me the answer and I'll be the one to decide. Fuck. Cheese. What the fuck? Cheese. Something you can do because it's cheese. Oh. Oh! I've got it. I've got it. I was totally tricked. This isn't something you could think up if your mind's all stiff and rigid. Seems like you've finally hit on it. Hopefully it is actually the right answer. It's impossible to cut the cheese with anything except the knife, right? The knife can only cut in a straight line, right? There aren't any other rules, right? Right? Ugh. Not really. All right, then that's gotta be it. Whew, that was a tough one. Almost like a riddle. Haha, you've just gotta get beyond cutting straight down from the top all the time. You make 2 cuts from the top to get 4 pieces. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. If you keep it like that and cut across the side, splitting it up into upper and lower halves, duality, you get 4 times 2 equals 8 pieces. It's an answer you can't reach unless you think 3-dimensionally. This is such a fucking microcosm moment. In other words, the correct answer is 3. Huh? Really? I thought the correct answer was 1. Wahahaha! What kind of magic did you use? There's no way in the world you could manage it with 1. Wait, is Battler gonna suggest the same shit I did, where you never actually lift the knife, so it technically counts as 1 cut? Please, Battler. This isn't a riddle, it's just a normal math problem. Huh? Oh. Really? I thought of the 3-cut method right away. But I figured that was too easy, so I guess I tried to twist it too far. Battler's answer is smaller than the one in the book. Is Battler right? Yes, he is. Battler-san is right. The correct answer is 1 slice. Battler was happy that someone confirmed his answer. However, at some point, Erica's face had lost its cheeriness. To think that a human other than myself would give the answer 1, and that it'd be you of all people. Your answer was 1 too, Erica? I guess you were also thinking out of the box. After all, it would be truly foolish to simply assume you knew what shape it was after hearing it was a piece of cheese. That's impossible. Why are we getting Angie commenting on this? What the fuck? Okay. I think it's just cheese, dog. That's impossible. Oni-chan got it wrong, didn't he? How could you cut it into 8 pieces with less than 3 slices? How foolish, child of man. It says to cut it into 8 pieces. Nowhere does it say they have to be of equal size. It's still impossible. Do you cut it with something other than a knife? The rules say that only the knife can cut it, and that the knife can only cut in a straight line. However, yeah, it could just be a knife with, like, it could be like a knife that's a grip with like 8 different blades and you just like slice. Like it could be like a nice cheese slicer. In fact, the shape of the cheese is never specified. When you all heard a large piece of cheese, you thought of a flat cylinder like camembert or something. I was thinking about sliced cheese, like the kind you might put on your toast for breakfast. Because, you know, full blocks of cheese you'd cut with a knife aren't something I come across that often. The shape of the cheese isn't specified in the rules, a mistake by the ones who made the book. I imagine there's a picture of a flat cylinder of cheese there in Maria-san's book. There is. Right here. As Erica had guessed, the book Maria held had an illustration of a piece of cheese, just as Erica had described it. With cheese of this shape, 3 slices really would be the correct answer. You cut it in a plus pattern from the top to make 4 pieces, then cut it from the side to double that and make 8 pieces. However, since this illustration hadn't been shown, the interpretation of the cheese had been left to the answerer. That's right. It could just be a weird piece of cheese that gets cut the second you slice it, and then it's 8 pieces. I don't know how I would make that work, but it works in my brain. At the moment the problem was stated, no one said anything about how the cheese was shaped or how flexible it was. Exactly. It seems that Battler-san was the more flexible one. When it comes to both brains and cheese, I don't get it. How does making it sliced cheese let you cut into 8 parts with a single knife slice? Why not try it with that paper napkin? Pretend it's sliced cheese. It's like this. You fold it accordion style. Okay, that's one way to do it, Battler. How many times do you need to fold it to make 8 sections? 6 times. To fold it accordion style, you alternate between upward and downward folds. Once you've done this 6 times, it looks like the side of an accordion. With normal cheese, it'd break if you tried to fold it like this. But the rules say that this cheese can't break unless you use a knife, right? Yes, no problem there. After all, this is magic cheese that can only be cut by a knife. I was like, counting the fucking shit. If you start at the top and make a cut right down the middle. I just did this in my head. You're right. It would make 8 parts. Wait a second. The parts aren't all equal this way, right? All the questioner said was to cut it into 8 pieces. They didn't say anything about them being equal. Well, if you change the way you fold it, it is possible to make them all equal sizes, but I wouldn't want to confuse you stiff-headed people with the explanation. She's such an asshole. I fucking hate her. Oh! For a while, everyone was stunned. Battler had reached a far better answer than 3 by thinking of the problem as a riddle. Erica had already known both answers and had even spotted a mistake by the book. The others could do nothing but stare at those two in surprise, because clearly Battler was being chill about it, but Erica was being a total asshole, like she normally is. Incredible. So we were the stiff-headed ones? What an utter defeat. We were thinking in 3 dimensions, but it looks like Battler-kun and Erica-chan were thinking in 1 dimension higher. They were having like the smell-o-vision on that cheese. It seems the game with the witch has toughened you up quite a lot. Puzzles without specified rules. In other words, all things not covered by the red truth are left to the observer's interpretation. It's the most basic of methods for constructing gaps in the witch's closed rooms. What are you talking about? Is that a quote for some novel? Well, let's call it that for now, shall we? Anyway, I guess this means that everyone's brains are as stiff as rock-hard cheese. Without any signs of restraint, Erica looked at everyone and laughed sarcastically. Only Maria didn't notice the venom in that laugh as she happily turned to the next page. Ugh. Then, on to the next problem. You have 3 cups and 6 coins. Split up the coins so that there's 1 coin in 1 cup, 2 coins in 1 cup, and 3 coins in the third cup. Ugh. Wait a sec, that's easy. Just stick 1 coin in the first cup, 2 in the second, and 3 in the last one, and you're done. However, can you do the same thing with only 5 coins? Ugh. But I'm a little confused by that. Here's another cliched problem. Don't tell me all you need to do is waste several precious seconds on a problem like this. By now, Erica was gazing around with an unpleasant look. Can you put a cup in another cup and then put 2 coins in it? I don't know. Because then that cup technically contains another cup and 2 coins. Erica was gazing around with an unpleasant look, acting in a manner that was completely inappropriate both for a guest and for someone of her age. She was no longer a guest who would be staying until the storm passed. She had transformed into an annoying guest who wouldn't leave until the storm passed. Everyone thought this, but they were unable to say it aloud. Yeah, because she's a fucking dick, and she has detective authority. Oh, right. Speaking of problems with coins, I've heard that picking up coins in a good way is a good way of judging someone's skills with chopsticks. Chopsticks? Yes, chopsticks, that's right! Chopsticks are the most elegant utensil on the planet. Poking things and chopping them up with forks and knives is so barbaric. Chopsticks are the best. For me, using chopsticks is truly an art. Jessica was about to say, aren't chopsticks just sticks? But she stopped herself just in time. She realized that it'd be best to let George take control for now. I have a coin here, so would you like to challenge me? I'm pretty good with chopsticks. That's right. We trained George very well with those. Indeed. Table manners are a window into one's upbringing. I don't know how to use chopsticks. But I also don't really eat a lot of Chinese food. And Erika-san uses them quite well herself.
I'll lend you some coins too. It'll probably be more fun with more of them.
Jessica, watch closely and learn. Damn it. Alright, let's go. Let's see who can move the most coins over to their plate. Bring it on. Chopsticks, chopsticks. What's up with her and chopsticks? This time, George had steered the conversation into a good direction. Everyone else understood and they hoped to egg on this chopstick fight and change the subject. They were fully aware by now that Erica was extremely proud of her intelligence, and apparently she had the bad habit of using that to look down on other people. She spun her chopsticks around with the deft hand of a juggler, staring at the coins scattered on the table like a dog who had been told to stay after having a meal placed in front of it. Why are we doing this? What is this accomplishing for the narrative? Am I thinking about this too hard? Who won? You know what? Fucking George won. We're back here? The unsettling sound of the wind had now been blended in with the sound of rain, mimicking the howl of some monstrous beast. Just when it seemed to be crying out sadly, it would suddenly turn into a roar and rattle the window, striking up even more fear and unease within me. Light from the hallway poured in through the thin crack of the slightly open door, and it seemed to carry with it laughter that was warm and happy, but very distant. What is going on? Who is this? They were at the beginning of the episode. I'm sure everyone's in the dining hall or somewhere having a good time. I want to go there as soon as I can. I'm sure my family will be there. I hate being all alone in a place like this. Dad, Mom. I stubbornly tried again to get that door open, but the merciless chain just wouldn't let it open any further than that crack. On the contrary, feeling this close to a way out just made me more impatient. Gulping and trying to ignore the fear lurking behind me, I quietly closed the door. The light coming out of the crack is just a trap. An iron shackle, making it look like I'm an inch away from freedom, though that door will never actually open. A shackle trapping me in here for all eternity. It's Beatrice. I need to get out of this creepy room as soon as possible. When I closed the door, all that filled the room were the eerie sounds of the wind and rain. The way the wind picked up every now and then and shook the window frame felt like a monster in a cage shaking the bars. I was so scared of that monster I couldn't help but avert my gaze from the window. Gotta search. If I can't get out the door, I need to find another way out. Just to the side of the door was a closet. There was only enough space inside to hang overcoats. Of course, it didn't connect to anywhere outside the room. If this were hide and seek, it'd probably be fun to hide in there. However, inside this creepy room, it'd be no better than stepping into my own coffin. If I go in there, maybe I'll find myself trapped in the closet next. This fear I didn't understand sent a massive shiver up my spine. I closed the closet door in a hurry. There's one door left. When I opened it, there was the bath and toilet. Of course, there was no exit. There weren't even any windows. If I turned the faucet, water would probably come out, then disappear down the drain and flow outside. But I couldn't get out that way. Unless I went into the bathtub with the stopper pulled out of the drain and smashed my flesh and bones to bits. I had the feeling that this was the only way out. So the black stopper in the bathtub drain looked extremely terrifying. I tried a lot of things, both mentally and physically, but there really was no chance of me getting out through the bathroom. Next is the window. Beyond the window is a pitch black darkness. The fierce winds and rain are slamming against the glass. The darkness on the other side of the window may have been unsettling, but I didn't really care where I went, as long as it got me out of this room. However, the window was clamped shut. Right down the middle of the window, which was made to swing open like a set of double doors, were several ugly metal clamps. It was even more unnerving than the chain on the door, like a rough operation scar on some bizarre monster. The wind and rain slammed against the window frame, shaking it and making it creak loudly. However, unlike the door, this wouldn't open it even a crack. I've had enough. Give it a rest already. What the hell's going on with this room? I've had enough of this creepy room. Enough, 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 enough. It's impossible to go outside except by the door and windows. Compared to that thick door, the window looks like it might be possible to break. I'll smash it. If I swing a chair at it, the glass will probably break. I might even be able to smash the wooden grid that runs through these latticed windows. All I need to do is make a gap large enough to slip out of. I grabbed a fancy-looking antique chair and headed back to the window. Ah! Smash it. Over and over. And this will be my last beer. The glass smashed with a violent sound, and the frame groaned and creaked. Smash it, over and over. If I can just break through the wooden grid. Damn it, what the hell? Even though the glass has been smashed apart, even though the cold rain that blew in tormented me, I just couldn't get that grid to break. They weren't iron bars. It was just a slender wooden mesh. Even though it's fragile enough to make that creaking sound, why doesn't it break? No, wait. Maybe it's almost broken. What if I try attacking it from a different angle instead of just smashing it head on? I stuck my left hand outside, through the hole in the broken latticed window, grabbed the frame from the front with my right hand and tried to break it apart by shaking it around from both sides. My left hand started to grow ice cold from the frigid winds and rain. When I shook it, fragments of glass sticking out from the broken frame poked into me, and my wrist was soon stained with blood. But if I can just get out of here, this much pain is no big deal. But I can't get out. I'm stuck. It won't open. I can't break it. The more violently I shook the frame, the more glass fragments tore into my left wrist, causing me immense pain. Wait, what's... Huh? Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Before I realized it, the glass fragments on the frame had extended outwards. It was as though an ugly beast was trying to chew my hand off with glass teeth. Ooh, I like that. It's good writing. It's great personification. It didn't just feel as though they were growing outwards. They actually were getting longer before my very eyes. Ah, and they're chewing my hand to bits. I tried desperately to pull my hand out, but it had already dug deep into my wrist and I couldn't move it. I put all my strength into it, but it just hurt more and more. And the glass didn't even budge. What the hell? Damn it, let me go, let me go, let me go. I hit the glass with my right fist over and over, but that just hurt my right fist and did nothing to release my other hand. Just then, my left hand, which was still exposed to the rain outside, brushed against something slimy. Ew. What? It couldn't have been a leaf blown about by the wind or anything like that. I mean, it felt just like the touch of someone's rain-soaked hand. Then it closed tightly around my left hand. When I felt the 5 fingers, I knew that some person out in the darkness was touching my left hand. And, yes, I know who it is. It's the witch. Terrifying witch who rules over Rokonjima's night. The 2 hands soaked in the freezing rain gently caressed my left hand. However, though I could tell what was happening by touch, I couldn't see anything out there in the darkness. Then, it felt about my fingers and twisted my ring finger upwards. Oh. Ow, 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 ow. It's gonna break. Ah! Ow, that really hurts. She's overextending her finger. And at that moment, I saw something in the darkness for the first time. It was white. The darkness grinned and bared its white teeth. Then, that mouth filled with eerily white teeth approached my finger that had been twisted up so far it was about to break and open wide and it must have been laughing at me from the darkness. After all, that creepy mouth was twisting upward in a huge grin. I had a horrible idea of what it might be trying to do to my finger. A shiver ran up my spine. What if this is an analogy for like becoming the head of the family? And this is actually coming from Battler. That's just a theory, a game theory. And then it gently bit my finger. What do you mean gently? Flesh and bone were crushed. That's not gentle. Flesh and bone were crushed and torn apart in an instant. Crunch, rip, tear, squelch, splat. Did you hear something just now? I think I heard it too. It sounded like a clunk. It's probably just the wind hitting a window. This is a beat up old mansion after all. It's not old. It's only like 40 years old. It was built in like the 50s. It's like not even 30 years. It's like 30 years old. This is not an old mansion, Jessica. Yeah, it is pretty creepy. When I was a brat 6 years ago, please tell me more, Battler. I remember spending a lot of nights all scared that the witch really was walking around the mansion. Ugh, she exists. Beatrice exists. What's at the other end of this hallway? Oh, there are guest rooms there, but they aren't being used now. Yeah. After all, we have the guest house now. Until then, we would always stay in these guest rooms. My question is why are they using the guest mansion? Or the guest house? What's the point? Isn't it less work to use the regular mansion to house everybody? Do I have any more popcorn? I do. Okay, that's for later. Oh shit, I just clicked off. God damn it. Not back to my awful streamer slop drawing, because that's what all the streamers do to get views or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I remember too. When I saw the guest house today, I was surprised at how beautiful it was. Well, that's because it was just built. I wish I could move my own room over there. Shannon, Erica-san's room is in the guest house too, right? Yes, we prepared a room for her in the guest house. And since the guest house is a good distance away from the mansion, no matter what kind of trouble happens, you can't hear what's going on in one from the other. Are you still in detective mode? Sounds like you'll be all bummed when we wake up tomorrow and manage to say good morning to each other. True. At least one of us had better be gone by tomorrow morning. Right? Allow me to guide you all to the guest house. The adults were apparently about to begin a conversation that they didn't want the kids to hear. The real family conference was about to start. As the kids and Erica followed Shannon on their way to the guest house, they passed through the entrance hall. Looks like it's pouring down at its hardest right now. Should we watch TV in the parlor until it dies down a bit? Mama said to go back to the guest house. We have to go or she'll get mad. Ugh. I think we'll all be able to relax a lot more over there. Better than getting to see and hear our parents getting all pissed at us. It looks like everything's falling into place. Erica giggled, an openly indiscreet look on her face. I'll go get some umbrellas for everyone. Please wait here. Oh, wait a second. It's been bugging me for a while. Who's the woman in that portrait? Well, to be honest, I already know that it's Beato's portrait. Still, we only just walked past it in the last game, which was no fun. Erica whispered to herself, but of course no one heard her. This is the master's benefactor. Beatrice Sama. Benefactor? That's a new way to describe her. Alchemist. They say she gave grandfather a vast quantity of gold, meaning that she's to thank for the Oshirith Mia family's revival. She's just a witch of grandfather's delusions. Supposedly, her ghost walks the corridors of the mansion every night. Hey, quit it. The story always freaked me out when I was little, and it always made this mansion feel terrifying after night fell. Notice how... Hold up. No, it's not this chapter. What chapter is it? Fuck. I think it's the 6 chosen by the key. No, it's after this. No, it's before this. It is before this. It's letter and umbrella, I believe, 1. It's wherever they're first talking about Beatrice. Where was it? Shit. Oh, Legend of the Gold. I think this is it. No. I probably should reread this scene. End of a storm. I really need to reread this shit. I really need to reread some of this shit. Anyways, I swear to God, they didn't... Battler used to not know this much about Beatrice. Oh, here it was. So here we have Battler asking, like, who is this Beatrice? She's supposed to be a witch from a kid's story, but now Battler's, like, integrating it more into his knowledge. Like, it's something he knew about. They mentioned this just a couple minutes ago, like 10 minutes ago. Like, oh, I used to be afraid of the witch when I was a kid. He's acknowledging her. So Battler's knowledge of Beatrice has changed from episode 1 to episode 6. So what is Battler trying to tell us now that we're seeing that he's remembering who Beatrice is? Who is he paying homage to? Well, Beatrice, obviously, but... But which is true? Both. Oh, right, that's true. What about now, 6 years later? I'd totally forgotten. But looking at this portrait head on, I can feel that old fear coming back a bit. Ugh. Beatrice isn't scary. At least as long as you respect her. If you don't... Right, Shannon. Yes. That rumor does exist among the servants as well. Rumors about servants patrolling at night, bumping into mysterious silhouettes or gold butterflies. Yeah, was it last year or the year before? Didn't one servant... I don't think it's a mistake that they mentioned that they're bringing up this servant again, who I think's name is Lunan, or Runan, I'm not sure. And at the end of episode 5 in the tips, we got to see another Cheester sister. And I was wondering about connecting the Cheester sisters to Shannon, Cannon, and Genji. Like, I was thinking about it at least. Like, it seemed feasible. Even though it doesn't really work with Genji, because Genji has this whole thing with Ronave going. But I didn't want to disregard the idea because in Rib Theory, I kind of wanted to separate... Let's see if I can see all the characters from here. Yeah, I can. I wanted to separate the Eiserne Jungfrau, Frauen, the Seven Sisters, and the Cheester sisters, who actually aren't on here, sadly. I wanted to separate them all into 3 different genres, which goes into the whole Rib Theory thing of fantasy, mystery, and romance. And I'm trying to connect that servant. Also, I think it's possible Jessica might have pushed this servant down a flight of stairs. But, especially when she's grinning like this. Why is she grinning? Okay. Didn't one servant fall down some stairs and get so badly injured that they quit? Wasn't there a rumor that it was Beatrice's curse? Jessica told it like a ghost story, trying to scare Erica, but Erica just laughed disdainfully. Am I right? I wonder if me suspecting Jessica is too obvious now. Fuck. Come on, that's creepy. It was probably just an accident, right? Just a coincidence. It happened just after grandfather had this portrait hung here, so it was probably the year before last when Kinzo died. Kinzo died over a year ago. In fact, if I remember, this here is the staircase that servant fell down, right? I've been thinking about this shit for an extremely long time. Yep. After all, this insanely huge portrait really stands out. Shortly after it was put up, everyone was talking about what it might be. And then when the accident happened shortly afterwards, people started calling it Beatrice's curse. So these ghost stories about Beatrice started after the portrait was put on display. No. Rumors about Beatrice Sama's ghost walking about were around even before that. However, I do think those stories grew in number after the portrait was put there. Before then, even though they had heard about the witch, Beatrice, they didn't have an actual distinct picture in their heads what she'd be like. I imagine that this portrait made that picture distinct for them, strengthening the rumors even more. Maybe that's why Kinzo had it put up. Or if not Kinzo, Jessica? So, who started talking about this Beatrice witch in the first place? Grandfather? He'd always start freaking out and yelling, My beloved. Wait, now how would she do grandfather's voice? My beloved witch Beatrice. No, that's so bad. Whatever, I can't do that. Though, until we saw that portrait, we have no idea what she looked like. It's no surprise that you'd get one or two ghost stories with a creepy portrait like this hanging around. You always find ghost stories cropping up around things like a portrait of Beethoven in a music room or a statue of the school founder. True. It wouldn't be strange for a few ghost stories to arise. In an old, gloomy mansion with the sound... It's not old! Stop calling it old! It's like 30 years old! Gloomy mansion with the sound of wind and rain present in the background for so long. Well, it's nothing more than a ghost story, a delusion, a fairy tale. Worth less than the useless drivel of half a sleeping nitwit. Of a half-sleeping nitwit. Erica looked up at the portrait and smiled hostilely. I hate that word. Hostilely. As though she felt that this smile was disrespectful to Beato, Maria's face soured. Fuck her up, Maria. Ugh. Beatrice exists. If you say things like that, you'll definitely feel the curse of the witch. Please, somebody push Erica down a flight of stairs. Please, someone push Erica down a flight of stairs. Please, someone freaking stuff her ass in the fucking drying machine. Please, someone, like, make her walk over Legos. Please, I'm begging you. She deserves it. Oh, how frightening. Please curse me if you can, Beatrice. So, if we find you mysteriously dead next morning, we'll know it's the curtain rising. raising on a witch's murder case. But you're a detective, right? Wouldn't killing the detective off in the beginning be a bit too radical? That would be troubling. That would get in the way of the crime scene inspection. I see. After all, even the Nox rules don't prohibit the detective from being... I see, after all, even the Nox rules don't prohibit the detective being killed. I have just what you need. It's a charm that'll protect you from Beatrice's curse. A charm? You have a charm for something like that? After fishing around in her bag, Maria pulled out a string of beads attached to a medal that had a scorpion drawn on it. It looked like a cheap prize from an arcade or something. What are these? Ugh! They're magic repelling charms. I hope she dies. I hope she refuses it and dies and they find her, like, with Legos impaled on her feet. Their effect is very weak, but if you use them, you'll definitely be able to avoid Beatrice's curse all night long. I've heard that spiderwebs are also useful for repelling magic. Ugh. That's probably because Beato is an incarnation of a butterfly. That's new. That's going in the notes. I think I added gold in there. Whatever the fuck, who cares? Huh? Wasn't it the evil spirits of Akuji Kishima that were weak against that? Kumasawa knows a lot about that sort of thing. Witches and evil spirits. This is getting a bit interesting. Would you mind telling me about it in a bit more detail when we get to the guest house? Here are umbrellas for everyone. It's still raining very hard outside, so please take care. Shannon handed out the umbrellas she had brought. Everyone headed towards the exit. And then, when there were none left standing in front of the portrait, a gold butterfly appeared, expanded out into a golden splash, becoming a human form. Bum bum ba. In the hall, empty now that the children had left, Beato stood alone and silent, looking up at her own portrait. I read Umineko. Ellipses. Without a doubt, the figure depicted there was as like her as an image as the figure depicted there was as like her as an image in a mirror. However, it felt as though its eyes and expression were just a little different from hers. From her perspective, while the person in this portrait was almost infinitely close to herself, it was just as surely a different person entirely. Who are you? Please tell me what kind of person you are. Notice what she just said and the parallels it has with that that magical spell to resurrect people. It's like, remember what form you had. Beato had already finished reading the fragments from Featherine's library, which showed the tale of all games so far. However, the witch called Beatrice, who had been depicted in them, had been so vastly different from her. At the very end, it looked as though that witch and Battler had connected just a little bit as rivals. But for the most part, Beatrice had just bullied Battler in nearly all the tales. Even though this was about her, she had no idea why Beatrice had tormented Battler so much when she had supposedly been born for Battler's sake. All she had learned from Featherine's library was that the former Beato was a completely different person, who defied understanding. What happened to you? Am I an egg of you? A chick? Your wings should have existed for father's sake. Just when did you have one of those torn off? Ends so drastically different. She had listened to the conversation Battler and the others had just been having. Beatrice can't handle scorpion charms. Beatrice can't deal with spider webs. She wouldn't have wanted to touch either of those by choice, but it wasn't as though anything terrible would happen if she did. Was being perfectly fine when around those proof that she wasn't Beatrice? Even though this involved her own self, she didn't understand at all. So she quietly gazed into her own eyes on the portrait. It felt as though the truth hid behind those eyes. Beato slowly approached the portrait, and then she lightly touched it. When she did, it felt as though the portrait rippled slightly. Yes, this is a doorway. A doorway to the long path that will lead her to the Golden Witch, Beatrice. What if this is where the secret tunnel is? What if this is where the Winchester Theory secret tunnel is? Ooh, that's a Pier theory. Beato felt a bit dizzy. She lost her balance, feeling as though the world was twisting around her. Then when she couldn't... Oh my god, I'm definitely cooking with this theory. Then when she couldn't tell which way was up or down, she was swallowed downwards. Plunk. With a soft, watery sound, Beato was sucked into the portrait. This is some Winchester Theory shit out the ass. The world inside the portrait was pitch black. Was it this weird track? Ugh, this track creeps me out. With the human speech? No, it's different. I think it is, at least. However, there was nothing unsettling about it. It was a comfortable darkness, like when you put on your head under the covers in bed at night. Beato realized this was a world inside herself. So, despite the darkness, she felt a warm embrace. As long as she asked for nothing, this world would ask nothing of her. But she couldn't remain like this. She didn't want to spend eternity inside the darkness of this world. Yes, I need to hatch out of my egg. This darkness is the shell surrounding the gold butterfly called Beatrice. I will be born for Father's sake. I will be born to live for Father's sake and to serve him. She took her goal, her reason for being born, and put it in words. As if in response to those words, a seal in the shell began to melt away. Cracks appeared in the darkness, and a brilliant light enveloped the world. That's bright. And so Beatrice was born. Huh? What? What the fuck? What the fuck? Two Beatrices? There I stood, along with another me. For a second, I thought that the me in front of me was the real Beatrice, the one I wanted to be more like. However, she was looking back at me with the same bewildered eyes, so I realized that wasn't quite it. That's right. I wasn't the only one born from that egg. She was also born. Is she my twin? What the fuck? No, it feels a bit different. How can I put it? Both of us are lacking something and immature. Yes, both of us are chicks, but we are also fragments of the true Beatrice. It felt as though we could become the real Beatrice together. No one explained this to us. However, we naturally understood. I decided to talk to this other me. Unless I get to know her and become one with her, I won't be able to become the Beatrice Father desires. In other words, the thing that Father wants from me, and was so heartbroken to find missing, must be something that she has. Hello? That's definitely her. The Beatrice with her hair down looked at me dubiously several times, then finally spoke. Why is your face the same as my own? The true Beatrice also spoke in that manner. It looks like she really does have something that I lack. Well, I don't know why either. I am the Golden Witch, Beatrice. And you are? The elder sister? Fuck! The elder sister. How am I gonna fucking deal with this? I am also Beatrice. I was born for the purpose of serving Ushirimiya Battler. I am the Golden Witch and the ruler of Rokenjima's Night. I know of Ushirimiya Battler, but I have trouble imagining why I should have to serve a brat like him. I didn't read that in Beatrice's voice, but whatever. I realized the thought I'd had a second ago must have been true. Together, we really can become the true Beatrice. Now we're getting fucking Hegelian with it. Okay. What the fucking stream? Though the person in front of me does have the part that makes her a witch, which I lack, she does not possess the mission to live for Ushirimiya Battler's sake. She has what I do not, and I'm sure I have something that she does not. We must be two and yet one single person. Now we're back to the whole thing about the rebus with these two and duality and I did not expect this. I think we're something like twins. No, that is not so. You are my little sister. I have been here since long before you were born. Huh? Is that so? I was born later. So does that mean the mission to live for Ushirimiya Battler's sake was born later on? However, I don't think my whole existence is something quite as faint as intangible as a mission. I have enough of a personality to think and act as I am doing now. So the Witch Beato and I are separate people, with both of us possessing something the other lacks. In that sense, maybe it is fitting to call ourselves sisters, as she says. I want to know about you. I also wish to know. I understand that you are also me. Why is it that you speak that way? And why must you serve Battler? Until we grow to understand this, it seems both of us will remain immature. I want to become a complete Beatrice. Until you were born, I was complete. However, now that you have appeared, I believe that accepting you is my fate. I also wish to know about you. The Witch Beato's tone was Also, isn't it interesting that I used to call this witch Beatrice and this human Beatrice, and now the roles have swapped, and now we're being told that this is fuck me. This is the human Beatrice, or this is the witch Beatrice, and this is the human Beatrice. That's so weird. However, since we both realized that we were the same person, there was no need for her to be a bully. She probably realized that, after meeting me, her current form was no longer her real self. Where are we? Is this the hall of the mansion? Oh. Beato gasped. Her portrait wasn't there. Come on, this is Winchester theory. I'm crossing my fucking fingers. Did that mean that this was at least 2 years in the past? Precisely. This is the hall of the Ushira Miya mansion. The night is my time. And the nighttime mansion is mine as well. That fool Kinzo is still so desperate to catch me or revive me. How truly ironic. Here I am, openly ruling my mansion every night. So, what do you do here? I have lost my body, and due to the effects of that hateful shrine, I have no magical energy. However, my power is reviving bit by bit every day. I can't wait to eventually undergo a spectacular resurrection and have a good laugh at Kinzo. I can't wait to tell him I've succeeded in escaping from his cage. Simply put, I'm a ghost killing time by wandering about it night after night, with nothing to look forward to besides teaching that old man a lesson. May I join you? Of course. After all, you are a part of me. How could the left hand refuse the company of the right? Why should I refuse? I shall be pleased to have you, my little sister, the new Beatrice. Thank you very much. Oh, Onesama? A somewhat embarrassing name, but it is not bad. Come, let us go. Let us take a walk through the nighttime mansion. Let me introduce you to my boring everyday life. The two Beatrices changed their form to two gold butterflies, flitting silently into the depths of the shadowy mansion. Back then I was, and I guess I still am, a bit of a klutz. I always forgot where I'd put things, or think I'd locked something up when I actually had forgotten. It caused a lot of trouble. I remember how Aunt Natsui used to get mad at you all the time. She was a child! She still is a child. But eventually Shannon managed to overcome all that forgetfulness. Oh, and how'd you do that? Well, it wasn't anything big, but I got into the habit of writing things down. Why am I reading her in Beatrice's voice? I don't think she's Beatrice. I write down wherever I put something important. For things that happen often, I made a checklist and always made sure to check it. So, did you see Beatrice or didn't you? Oh, I didn't see her directly, but, well, some very strange things did happen. She was talking about a certain summer night. Shannon had been doing the nightly rounds. From her perspective, it was a ghost story. From the witch's perspective, it was just the story of a little summer's night prank. Little sister, do you understand the anti-magic toxin that humans possess? No. What is it, One-sama? Well, the time of witches is long since past. Those vile humans who claim to rule over everything came to deny our existence and possess a powerful toxin. Is that toxin harmful to us? It is extremely dangerous. If we were exposed to it, our forms would probably evaporate in an instant. I'm still not over the fact that in the Answers arc, a bunch of these characters have gained little pokey teeth like Lambda, and it really freaks me the fuck out. She is one. However, one thing we do have in our favor is the fact that our existence is still extremely weak. Because of that, the toxin does not affect us greatly. At worst, it can only transform us into mist for a time. However, we'd rather avoid it if we can, right? Correct. Yes, I see that you are indeed me. You catch on quickly. The older sister appeared to be haughty at first, but perhaps because she was so happy to have met her double and little sister, she was more than willing to teach her anything she wanted to know. The first thing she taught was that they were witches, a different type of being than humans. Beato had thought her inability to use magic meant she wasn't a witch, but apparently she was still a witch nonetheless. And she learned that witches like her were bound by various limitations, unlike humans. The greatest of those restrictions was the anti-magic toxin possessed by humans. So, in other words, we mustn't enter a human's field of vision. Correct. You could think of it as though human eyes radiate the toxin. If they see you, it is the same as your body being burnt. And though the effect is weaker, being heard or sensed can also result in contact with the toxin. So even just getting close to humans is dangerous to us. Wasn't Father a human? Why am I not burnt by Father's toxin? If we stock up magical power and have it acknowledged by humans, that toxin can be reduced drastically. In other words, by having our existence acknowledged by humans, we make them lose their toxin, making it possible for us to appear before them once more. I see. Simply put, as we are now, we can only exist when humans aren't around. We are still very lacking in magical power, which makes us inferior to even a stray cat hiding from humans in the shadows. The main goal of the older sister was to gain a large supply of magical power and be revived as a great witch strong enough to have no fear of the anti-magic toxin. Why did I read that? For that purpose, she had wandered around the mansion night after night, striving to regain her magical power and reduce the anti-magic power of the humans. The powerful previous Beatrice, whom she had read about in Featherine's library, had appeared openly in front of humans and had even toyed with them at will. According to her big sister, such a level of power was most impressive. To think that a witch could appear openly before humans and use magic at will. A witch like that would be so great that even I can hardly imagine it. Is that what we will eventually become? Yes, she was like a witch from a picture book, appearing openly before the humans of the mansion and summoning magic and underlings at will. How inspiring. If that is our future, it means that all of our hard work will have been worth the effort. That's right. Anyway, One-sama, how is that goal connected to the going around unlocking windows like this? What? What? It was the middle of the night. They were following behind servants who were checking the locks on the doors and windows and undoing those locks after the servants thought they had been set. It felt more like a child's prank than the work of a witch. This is the path that leads to becoming a great witch. All journeys begin with a single step. To those who cannot understand, that first step may look quite foolish from time to time. However, it is still a more momentous first step. With pride as though making the first step for mankind on the surface of the moon, the older sister undid the lock on a window with a click. Do you not understand, little sister? Can you not see why a little thing like this is so momentous? No, Onesama. I don't really understand. The older sister closed her eyes lightly, smiled, and opened the unlocked window with a crack. Cool outside air flowed in, making the curtains flutter. Let us put it in the toxin-filled words of a human. We are not supposed to exist on this island. I shall go further. Right now, there is no one in this corridor. And yet, the lock has been undone, and the window is opened. Can you see how great a miracle, a work of magic, a proof of our existence that is? Even you should understand the coolness of this breeze. I do understand. It's nice and cool. The coolness, the softness of the breeze, and the feel of the fluttering curtain touching your hair. All of these things show that we truly are here. So, by unlocking the window like this, we can leave behind proof that we really did exist? And that is why I unlocked it. Of course, it wasn't just small pranks like opening a window. She could also smash windows or vases or leave behind strange fires and mysterious scribbles. In fact, one time she actually did play a large-scale prank in the kitchen, piling up kitchenware in an eerie manner and leaving behind a bizarre scribble which scared the servants considerably. It was a complete success. She'd really managed to scare the servants and had succeeded in making them acknowledge the existence of magic, weakening the anti-magic toxin. However, she usually chose to make her presence known by unlocking windows. The act of unlocking symbolized her release from the limitations imposed by the human's toxin, which also goes in line with the whole thing of that one magical seal that lets her break those. One day, we will become a single witch and rule over all of Rokkenjima. When that time comes, we will gain complete freedom and will be capable of stretching our wings as we please. We won't have to be afraid of anyone's gaze anymore. We'll be able to fly wherever we wish, disappear whenever we want, laugh however we like, prank however we like, talk with anyone we want to. Humans might ask things of us from time to time. They might fight with us or play with us too. What wonderful things for us frail creatures who cannot appear before anyone to look forward to. Right now, they are little more than pranks. However, as they pile up, proof that we exist will begin to gather. Is Bigfoot a fucking witch? The servants already call me the witch. Is Bigfoot Beatrice? Yes, I am Beatrice. And that's okay. And in SCP-1000, Bigfoot, they're called the Children of the Night. When did SCP launch? 2009? When did Umineko launch? I think 2009. So this is perfect. My theory is flawless. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. The servants already called me the witch, Beatrice, Master of the Night, and are beginning to believe in me bit by bit. The more they believe, the more those humans will lose their anti-magic toxin. I see. So this means that Father has no anti-magic toxin. And that's because he truly believes in the existence of the witch I am, without any doubts. I finally realized that, though I thought him to be cold, Father does possess a kindness that can't be seen. I'd like to become a great witch and appear in front of everyone soon. Indeed, eventually we'll be able to appear openly in front of anyone. By doing that repeatedly, we shall make people believe in us even more, and eventually we shall display even our magic for all to see. And at that time, we shall descend upon Rokkenjima as the great witch you told me of. that's where I'm gonna stop for today. I'm gonna stop early today because I am sleepy as fuck, and I started later, and I have to wake up tomorrow early, so I gotta go. Really? Right at the end of my fucking stream? How the fuck are you gonna... How's a bot gonna be in my fucking chat at the very last fucking minute of my stream? Okay. Well, folks, it's been fun. I'll be back tomorrow, and I won't be back Thursday, though, because I'm gonna be watching the Game Awards Thursday with my buddies. Because, goddamn, I love watching the Game Awards. It's so bizarre. I'm gonna... I don't know. I'm not working Friday, so I might do a little Friday stream. We'll see what happens. I just have to be on before my buddy gets on it, and so I might do an early stream Friday. I don't know. We'll see. It's just like depending on how I feel. But otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye. Wait, this is where the I do the tuber part. I'm like, thanks for watching.